Good evening. It is Sunday night at 7 o'clock. It's WSFL Weekly. I am your host, Jonny Baillie, for Season 2, Episode 16, and delighted to be joined by Royal Albert manager Connor Whitelaw. Connor, how are you doing? It's been a while.
How
I've
you
been
doing,
trying to
Jonny?
get you on for a while.
I know, mate. We've just kind of missed each other, haven't we? But it's good to be on, mate. Thanks for having me on as well. Looking forward
No,
to it.
it's good to have you. It's a club, again, I always try, if I can, get guests on, people that I've never met before, although I talk to you most weeks about the games and stuff like that, but I always find it really useful to get, especially with clubs, because it's, as a club, I probably don't know a lot about
Yeah.
Royal Albert. So, and I saw there was some news during the week. I don't want you to get into it now, but we'll cover it at the time. But some positive developments at the club, so probably a good time for you to come on.
Aye, for sure, mate. We've had some positive news and some new guys coming on board who I feel could help move the club up to the next level. So no, a lot of positive stuff happening at the club, mate, on and off the field. So I will get into that a wee bit later.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Just a reminder, if you are watching the show live, get in touch with us, give us your comments, and if you get any questions or anything like that for Connor or myself, then always happy to tackle them. Quick shout out to our sponsors as well before we get started. So Roxburgh Insurance Brokers, if you need any insurance needs, get in touch with Roxburgh. GLA Chauffeurs will organise any executive travel, etc. for you. So look up those guys and get in touch with them. And of course, finally, VSN Sport. Gary will sort your club out with bespoke kit for your team, and his number is running across the bottom of the screen. If you're watching us, thanks again for tuning in. Please hit the like button. If you're rewatching us on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to the Pyramid Promotions channel. It is really much appreciated. And if you are listening to us on audio form, then please download the episode and rate and review on your podcast networks. All these things with the algorithm really helps us and will continue to help us as we move forward, as we move into next year, and we'll see what we can do. Right, Connor, as usual, what we'll do is we'll run through the league fixtures. Somebody's just asked there in the chat straight away about the South Challenge Cup draw. We will come to that at the end, Craig, so we'll get to that. We'll kind of wrap that up with the news stuff, but thanks for that, but we'll come to that. But we'll run through the league stuff first, Connor, okay? And then we'll kind of get into the cups. I know it was Scottish Junior Cup, but I don't know how you feel, Connor, right? But I always think league's your bread and butter. That's the most important thing. Are you with me?
Oh, 100%, mate. Especially, listen, we've got St Cadoc's in a couple of weeks in the cup, and it's a great day out for the club. And obviously, you're getting up and you're testing yourself against a Premier League side and an established club. But if you'd asked me what was more important, 3 points at home this Saturday against Whitelaw or a cup upset, especially in our position, you're looking for that 3 points every time. I think most people will be the same. There's obviously something beautiful about the cup and getting it going on a cup run and whatnot, but aye, the league's the bread and butter. It's got, especially this time of year.
Aye, definitely. Right, okay, so we'll start in the Premier League. Drumchapel, who were struggling in the league recently, hadn't had a win for a good while in the league, a few draws, but no managed to get over the line. But they do so in style yesterday by thumping Beath 6-1 away from home. Really impressive result.
Really impressive, as you say. They've come off the back of a few disappointing results recently, but they'll be over the moon with that result yesterday. And to go down to Beef, where's obviously Beef have been struggling a wee bit themselves this season, but over the last 4 or 5 years, they've had a lot of success. And it's not an easy place to go, and to get down there and win like that, the manager will be over the moon. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them going a wee run now, to be honest with you, because they've got a lot of quality in that team. I seen them earlier on in the year in a friendly, and I was really, really impressed. And they obviously good backing and good crowds and that, so I think they could go on a wee run now.
Aye, I think we've probably been waiting for that for a wee while, Connor, to be honest with them, because we know that they're a good side and we know they've got a good manager, etc. And it just didn't seem to be happening for them. So maybe this is just going to be the spark that kicks them on.
Aye, sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes it just clicks on the day, and obviously it has yesterday in front of goal. And sometimes, obviously, they'll come into training this week with a wee bounce, and they'll look to crack on with that now. And as I say, it's not an easy place to go. So I'd be surprised now if we see them. Sorry, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them keeping on climbing up the league. I think they're sitting mid-table now. So that's what their manager will be looking for now, is for for them to go on a run. So hopefully they do.
Aye, and on the other side, Craig's just put in the chat, just flashed it up on the screen there that he's saying the Bees fans aren't they too happy? But for me, I'm not quite sure. Like, obviously, what the expectations would be with the changeover, the new manager coming in. I know that's 3 defeats on the bounce. They lost 4-2 to Cumbernauld, which obviously a league below. That's never a good look. When they lost to Cumnock the week before, and now they've had a sore one off Drumchapel. They go to Renfrew next week, I think, in the league. So that then becomes a massive game for them.
Aye, it's massive, and as we touched on, they've been used to kind of being up the top of the leagues, and obviously they won the league a couple of years in a row and never went up for whatever reasons. But sometimes with the new manager coming in, I have seen on their social media the last few weeks that they seem to be kind of bringing in a lot of players and moving a lot of players out, as any new manager would. So it's got to take the new manager a wee bit of time to he gets a settled squad, and I would be surprised if they're still down there sitting third, second bottom come the end of the season. But the new manager just needs time. It's not an overnight fix, obviously.
No, definitely not. But we'll see what happens next week. That's going to be a really good one. Cumnock beat Arthur 3-2. I've tried to get I've got updates for managers as I always do. I've tried to get as much of the league stuff covered as I can. I did speak to Willie Dyer. I know I've texted you a couple of times, Connor, and sometimes I get nervous when I text managers after defeats. But I think I'll look to the public to go and try and get this information for them. But he was just saying Cumnock started the better side. They managed to get a goal and go in half game one each. Thought they athlete the majority of the ball second half without creating too much. Get ourselves in front, and then with 5 to go, they lose the ball in the middle of the park under no pressure. They score for a free kick. Last 5 is backs against the wall, and they found a winner. So he says it's a sore one. Hoping to see the game out. Those can be pretty sore, but I don't think he should be too downhearted because they've had a great start to the season, Athlete.
They've had a great start, sitting 5th, 6th in the league, I'm sure.
Can you hear me, Connor?
I can hear you, aye. Mm-hmm. You hear me?
Aye.
Can you hear me, Jonny?
Aye, just a wee bit of delay. I don't know.
No worries, mate.
Aye, you're fine, mate. Go on.
They've had a great start to the season. Obviously, a disappointment to lose yesterday, but I think when you look at that table for about Hurlford down to St Cadoc's, obviously the Talbot and Troon seem to be kind of pulling away, but I think the rest of the league, MD can beat MD, and MD can beat Talbot and Troon as well, but it looks as if every game's a 50-50 game. So Arthur's had a really, really good start to the season, and he'll just be looking to bounce back next weekend for that. But again, they've been down to Cumnock and competed, and he'll not be asking for much more than for that half his players.
I know, because you look at the table after yesterday. Arthur's still sitting 6th in the league. Cumnock, I suppose we should talk a wee bit about Cumnock. That's them now up to 4th in the league. They seem to be just going about their business so pretty quietly, but they've sneaked up into 4th in the league.
Aye, they had quite a disappointing season last year for the squad they had. So again, as you say, they're kind of going about their business a wee bit more quiet this year, and they've had a few good results now. Obviously, yesterday's a good result to score late on as well, and as you say, they're sitting 4th, so they'll be looking to just keep on climbing the table and maybe go and hopefully compete in maybe a wee title challenge if they can catch up with Troon and Talbot.
It's going to be a tough ask, but I think the minimum Cumnock fans will be looking for is to get that top 8 position and get them into that low in League West, definitely. Craig just mentioned there about our next game surprise result was Glenn's getting heavy defeat, just signed Max Curry for St Cadoc's, second time Glen Cowinn's handed out a doing this season after beating aforementioned Drumchapel 8-1. That's a really, really great result for Cowinning, but Paul Payton will be extremely disappointed getting turned over 5-1 at home.
Aye, for sure. And I always kind of look at the Glenafton results, and they're quite good at home as well. I never seen that coming yesterday. But again, it's like Cowinning's a good start as well, going up this year. And they're sitting mid-table as well, just under Drum. So they'll be over the moon, but it's Glenafton, they'll be home. It's just a 1-1, and they'll obviously be looking to bounce back this weekend. But I never expected that result yesterday. Glenafton they'd bet Johnsonborough at home the week before, I'm sure. So I fancied Glenafton to continue their good run, but again, as we just said, I think that league's so close, and MD can beat MD. there's so much quality in that league. It's just whoever performs on the day, obviously. But I didn't see that result coming yesterday. No.
No, certainly know that scoreline going in, as you said, they've had a really strong start to the season. Excuse me, and expected them to go up and be competitive. Felt it could have went either way, but that's a really, as you said, and Glenafton coming off a great result last weekend. But it just shows you, do you know what I mean? It's just game of football. Anything can happen.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Just touch on, somebody was just asking about the Hurlford St Cadoc's game, which got abandoned. The latest I'd heard was that it was the two boys had picked up quite nasty cuts on the leg. Now I don't know how serious it was. I'm hearing this information kind of third hand, but I'd heard that they're both okay. But it sounds pretty unusual. Sounds quite an unusual one. But I think the chat is that both boys are okay. So best wishes to both of them. But the game will obviously have to be replayed. But don't know. Did you hear anything about that, Connor?
I never know, because obviously we play St Cadoc's shortly in the next couple of weeks. So I was looking out for that result to see how they got on, and I never seen anything. That's the first I've heard of that. But obviously, wish the two boys all the best. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious.
Aye, we'll see if there's any St Cadoc's fans. I say that relatively tongue in cheek, but if there's any of them watching, then please get in touch and let us know how the boys are. And as I said, we certainly wish them all the best. Moving into the first division, Connor, Darvel continue their impressive start under Nacho Novo, going to a really difficult place in Neilston and coming away with a 2-1 victory.
Flying into it, really. You talk about the new bounce managers getting, he's went in and clearly got that with 2 good away results. And I was having a look at the league table, and that seems sitting at 8, so they've went from sitting second bottom in that league to in the promotion places now. So it's obviously so far looks as if it's been a really good appointment. One thing's for sure, he's obviously got the CV on for playing the level he has. So wish them all the best, and they've definitely picked up over the last couple of weeks. We played them a friendly just no long before Mick left, and you could still see then about 5-6 weeks ago the quality they had throughout the squad. So I never expected them to stay down there where Mick was there or not. It was unfortunate to see Mick lose his job down there, but they seem to have got a bounce, and I think from what I'm hearing, they've had a really good away crowd the last 2 weeks as well. So they'll be looking forward to their first home game. And again, they'll be looking to keep on moving up the table now that he's in.
It's one of those ones where you'll probably get people going along just to see Nacho Novo. Similar to Johnston Borough, probably get it a wee bit with Kyle Lafferty as well, that people will go along just to see these guys. And maybe Celtic fans would maybe go along to Glasgow United to see Effie Ambrose when he was playing, or David Templeton, who's just been announced the new manager at Glasgow United. But it's good for the game. Anything that brings more people through the gates is good for the game, in my opinion.
100%, especially at this level, and people still going about the money Darvel spending that. I know for a fact that it's been reduced, but he might bring in some new revenue or sponsorship, or as you say. So, good luck to them. I'd expect them to now go and keep moving up the table. But anything that can bring extra fans in at any level, and that'll help Neilston, because Neilston will probably get some, maybe more fans coming along neutrals, as you say, to see Nacho or to see guys like that. So it's only good for the clubs when they're receiving more gate money.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, Darvel now talking about their dodgy start to the season, whatever, a few wins, just shows you, like, with the change to the league structure this year, stick a couple of victories together and you can find yourself in those promotion spots.
Exactly. Exactly. I've seen that happen in our league with St Peters. St Peters were sitting second bottom after 4 or 5 games, and now sitting in the promotion places after a good run as well. So I think that makes it quite exciting this year, to be honest, because it's given a lot of teams that wee extra chance to go and get promoted. And at the same time, if you flip it, if you go and have 2 or 3 bad games, you're not out of the promotion. So it's quite exciting. I quite like it this year.
I would like to have seen a video of Kenny Henderson when they were sitting second bottom.
Some man Kenny, but
by the way, he was talking very highly of you, but I'm not going to go into it because I don't want your head to get any bigger.
He's one of the very few who does then, I think. Kenny's a good guy, and he's got a really good team. He's got a I said at the time that they wouldn't be there long because they've got a really, really good young team.
Yeah, aye, definitely. Okay, we'll jump into the second division. Bonnet v Kilsyth. I felt this was a big game for Bonnet. They were disappointed last week to lose, and I felt that it was important that they bounced back, especially at home to Kilsyth, and they managed to. And I spoke to Ian Waite, the coach, and he just said it was good performance, played some decent stuff, defended better compared to last week. Scoreline could maybe have been a bit more convincing. And then I also spoke to Gavin Mackey, the co-manager at Kilsyth, who was just saying that it was the worst performance since they've came in, and he's saying again it could have been more, and they couldn't have complained. So sounds like a pretty straightforward afternoon for Bonnet, but I think it was important to get that win after disappointing last week.
I actually seen Bonnet last year. One of the weeks their game was off. I went and watched them against Lanark. And they were very, very good that day with the boy Matt Walker up front. I know Matt for the amateurs and the boy Chisholm and there's a couple others, but they two stuck out and they were very, very good on the day against Lanark. And then obviously they've been kind of floating about 6th, 7th, 5th this season. And I know a few of the boys who have recently signed for Kilsyth Rangers who were at WOSFL last year are very good players, and they went up to the Gow and bet the Gow a couple of weeks ago. So I expected that to be tight. So, but Bonnet will be glad to bounce back, as you say, and get that win. But they have got some really good players in their squad, Bonnet, and I wouldn't be surprised again to see them keep on picking up points now after a disappointing couple of weeks.
Aye, no, I agree with you, and I think going on to our next fixture, I think if anything kind of epitomises the league as such, it's probably Cambuslang in recent times, because they went on a bit of a really kind of poor run where they started well, then they lost. What did they lose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bounce, and now 6 on the bounce. Sorry, then they bounced back. They beat Bonnet and they drew with Cali Locos, and then they beat Ashfield yesterday, and it puts them now up into 5th in the table. So again, it's great for us because it gives us excitement to talk about, but that just demonstrates how quickly things can change with Cambuslang finally getting on the right end of a couple of results.
Aye, and again, similar to Bonnet, and they've got 2 or 3 players up the final third of the pitch who are really, really good. And they're always a threat. And they're a kind of, Paul's got them as they're a typical junior, like an old-fashioned junior team. They've got a lot of height and strength. We played them in a couple of friendlies this season. They train at DLs where we train, so we sometimes get the odd bounce game. And they've signed the boy Mackenzie for Glenville, and he really caught the eye. And a wee bit similar to ourselves. We've not really done a lot of games recently. I think I spoke to Paul last week and he was saying that they'd had like no game in 3 or 4 weeks or something like that, just the way it fell. And so he was a bit frustrated with that. So to come back after that and get the win, he'll be over the moon with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And again, it just shows you just put a couple of wins together and you'll be flying. Christ, Dale Park, that takes me back. We used to train there when I was a youth player at Hibs, like 12, 13-year-old. That's where we used to train through there on a Tuesday and a Thursday, play their home games there as well. Good memories again through there. See, you're talking there about Kilsyth, Cambuslang having quality at the top end of the park. That's really what every manager is striving for, isn't it? Because you know if you can score goals, especially at this level, you'll give yourself a chance.
Oh, 100%. And well, you know what I'm going to say next, because I've sent you some of your highlights for this season, and we've been draw specialists, and the chances we've missed have been criminal at times. But listen, it's not just the strikers, it's on the full team. But when you have got players in the final third, we've been a wee bit unfortunate with injuries up front this season. But when you've got the kind of Mark Walkers and the boy at Canby Rangers, and it makes your life so much easier as a manager, because in the tight games, it's 2-1, they've won yesterday, you kind of, if they get a chance, 9 times out of 10 they'll take it, and it makes such a big difference to your team, and you've got somebody there who'll go and score 20, 25 goals, and it takes the kind of pressure off the rest of the team as well, when you kind of know, right, he'll get us out of hole here. So, but aye, they've got a lot of quality, Canby. And as I say, it's a tough place to get down there, take Canby and come away with points as well. He's always had a good home record, so I think they'll finish top 8. For what I've seen of that division and what I know of it, I think they'll be. I think they will finish top 8, down to the fact they've got goals in the team.
Mm-hmm. Aye, goals Goals will win you games, especially at this level. I always feel it's about who scores the most goals, because we know you hear me every week talking about the average goals. So if you can score more than the other team, I know it's a cliche, but it really does impact at this level. Never mind defenders, just get goal scorers on the part and you're away.
100%.
I know. Kilsyth Athletic 2, Maryhill 3. Maryhill up to third in the table. I spoke to Mark Young, the Maryhill manager. He was just saying very similar to last week where they came out the traps well, could have had a couple of goals early, lost a penalty, didn't react well, found themselves 2-0 down. Scored right before half-time to give us a lift. Made 3 subs and they impacted the game, pulling us level, and another sub got the winner. Another week having to fight back, which is great character, but can't keep doing that because they'll get punished eventually. Another 3 points and sitting third just shows how tight the league is. And then also spoke to Aaron Conley, coach at Kilsyth Athletic. If I can find it in my phone. Where's Aaron? Where is Aaron? There he's there. He was just saying he thought it was an even game. Just deflated to lose at the end. 2-0 up, felt comfortable. Maryhill made changes and got the rewards getting level. He just feels that they're a bit close in games and not getting the results over the line, needing to improve. But how pleased do you think Mark will be with the fact that it's not an ideal situation, but they've found themselves 2-0 down the last 2 weeks and come back to get 3 points?
That's massive, and it just shows you where the mentality of the squad is just now. But they're sitting third, so they'll be fancying themselves for a top 3 finish. And I think they've got a few games to make up on the league as well. And obviously, I speak to Darrow a lot, who's manager at Les Mahago. That's my pal, and he's always been impressed with Maryhill going back to last year. And he says this year they've not played each other yet, but everything he's heard for other managers is that they're very, very good, and they're young. So they're worth keeping an eye on, I think, Maryhill, especially for that top 3. But I've not actually seen Maryhill this year, but I have heard a lot of good things about them, for managers in that division. But to come back for 2-0 down in 2 weeks in a row, did you say that's some going?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That'll give them a right buzz going into their next few games.
I know, and as a manager, though, as I say, it's probably not an ideal scenario for a manager, like how you work on that, because as you said, you don't want you're delighted with the character that the team's shown. The subs have come on and impacted the game, but it's now happened 2 weeks in a row. Do you then start to think about changing things? But then do you want to change things because you've won 2 games? Do you know what I mean? It's an interesting quandary for Matt.
He'll obviously need to go over how they're losing goals and how they're starting games. That will obviously be a worry to him, because you're not going to constantly come back for 2 goals down, no matter who you're playing against. So that's something he'll address with his coaching staff, and they'll obviously come up with a plan to work on that, because that will be disappointing him. But I think there he'll be trying to, especially when he speaks to the players, still through the positives about how they've done it and got the goals. But aye, you definitely can't keep giving away cheap goals like that.
Aye, and on the Kilsyth Athletic side, just going over kind of what Aaron was saying there about how they're close in games, just not getting the results over the line. See, to me, that just sounds like the mark of a new team. You know, that kind of thing happens when you get a new team together, and it can be really, really frustrating as a coach and as a manager. But it's you're hoping that the more these boys play together, then they learn how to see games out and get those victories.
Aye, exactly that. We played them in a pre-season friendly, and they'd literally just threw the team together over the first couple of weeks of pre-season. And again, that's where, in a way, with this season is that it gives clubs like Kilsyth a chance to go and build this season. They're not going to go and get top 8, but I think what they'll be hoping for is with this young team, and it is a young team, they'll be hoping to get the experience of playing in the second division this year, and obviously come the summer, they'll be hoping it's not a full rebuild. And they'll have a more settled squad with experience in that division, and that will hopefully stead them in a better place.
Aye, definitely. Okay, into the third division, Craigmark go top of the table after beating Glasgow Uni 3-2. I did speak to James McCauley, the Glasgow Uni manager. He was actually saying that he was delighted with the performance, gutted with the result, because he felt they deserved to win. Never mind draw. Felt they were the better team, but we knew it was a really tough place to go. He feels that they've got nothing to fear. We fancy ourselves up against everyone. Give Craigmark credit. They scored goals at the correct times and grinded out a win. Very organised and clinical with the chances they create. we word there about the referee, but he was just saying delighted to get their first home game next week. They play Knightswood on Friday. It's their first home game since August the 22nd. 7 out of the 10 league games have been away. So when you put it into that kind of context, you can understand why he's taking the positives, because you would be looking at them getting their home form up to scratch and then putting them in a good place come the end of the season.
Oh, definitely. I never realised that they'd 7 out of 10. To be sitting mid-table with that run of fixtures is decent going. Craig Mark on the other side are flying, aren't they? They're sitting top and flying, but they had a really, really difficult season last year. And I think when the new manager came in near the end of the season, he's just gradually built for this season. He brought players in, and you've seen a wee kind of upturning performances and results last year come the end of the season. So I fancied them to have a good season this year. They seem to kind of yo-yo up and down quite a wee bit. But Glasgow will just be looking forward to getting a home game. I'm sure they play their games at Airgie Stadium.
Yeah,
a Friday night usually. I think they usually try and do it first. So they'll be looking to get some home games in and get back to normality and pick up some points. I quite like Glasgow Uni anytime I've seen them. I think they play good football. And Craig Mark they'll just be glad to get another win and they'll just be looking to just tick the games off. But that's a really tight league as well, the third division. It's really tight.
I think it's probably one of the tightest, definitely going. Could probably go all the way to the wire, I'm thinking. I was looking, but Craig Mark I think Craig Mark comes back to what we were talking about earlier, Connor, because they have got real quality in the forward areas, you know, and if they're playing, if from what I've heard, they're very organised out of possession and very compact and take their chances. If you are going to play that way, then you need to have quality at the top end of the park, because you need to take the chances when you get them. If you're not as an expansive team as some others.
For sure, aye, definitely. And it's got all the trademarks of a team that can go and win titles if you're not giving away a lot of goals in one end and then the other end you're scoring. So I obviously they've got the 3 goals yesterday, and as I say, I know a few of the boys in there who play up the final third who are really good players as well. And as we keep saying it, if you've got the players who have scored goals, you've got a chance in any game. I think that'll be tight. I think you could probably pick 5-6 teams who'd probably still fancy themselves to win that league just now. Obviously, I know Portwell, we took a sore one off of Port a few weeks ago in the Strathclyde Cup, and seen they won yesterday as well. Really, really impressed with Port. We played them last year. I thought they were excellent. Knightswood, Mick's got a really good team there at Knightswood. So they two have been there last year going for titles, so they'll fancy their chances. Then you've got Ardere and Dalry. I've not seen much of them, but again, I think we'll move on to Ardere, but they've had a good start to the season. They'll be looking to pick up after yesterday, but it's a really interesting league. It's a really good league. It's probably the one league I don't know a lot about some of the teams, just the way I've seen it over the last few years. But it's got to be interesting to see who wins that.
I know. I'm just looking at Glasgow Uni's fixtures there, just off the back of what James is saying. I mean, I know, granted, there's cup games in there, right? So there's obviously nothing that the Kenny, the fixture guru, can do about that, you know. But to have seven away games on the bounce, it's really tough, you know, because it's just trying to get some, I don't know, momentum going, you know, because you're always travelling. Like you enjoy your home park, your home surroundings, you know where everything is. You turn up, it feels familiar, and going to different places 7 weeks in a row must have been a real headache for them. So well done negotiating that.
100%. I don't know if that's maybe been an issue with Airgie Stadium or.
No, like I said, Connor, I think it's cup. So they've had the draws, obviously the draws in the cup. So in that period, in the kind of 7 weeks, that they have played 3 league games, which have all been away from home. They went to Kellow, Glasgow United, and Craig Mark. But they've played they've played 4 cup games in that as well.
It's so luck then, isn't it?
It's almost like just luck, you know, that this has happened. But they've navigated it okay, and then they can hopefully pick up for here. Before we touch Ardere, just touching Kellow beating Glenville 2-1. I thought that was a good result for Kello. They'd had a couple of defeats recently, and I think it was important that they bounced back because they had a strong start to the season. That moves them up to 9th, although they've played a few more games than the other teams round about them. But that's a decent result, winning against Glenville yesterday.
Aye, it's a really good result. Again, I think Kello's home record, even this year, they've got a really good home record. Last year, they had a great home record. It's a really, really tough place to go, especially this time of year. We went down, played them around about November, December last year, and it's a horrible place to go and play. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. They get good crowds, but it's just a horrible road for teams from Glasgow area to travel down. And you get down there, and the fans are right on you. They get good crowds, and they start fast. And aye, they've got some good players as well, Kello. If the big goalkeeper's there, he's really good. So aye, that's a really good result. And again, off the back of that, they'll be sitting there going, right, let's go and try and get top 8 now. So as you say, it just takes 1 or 2 wins in a row, and you're back up there and about the promotion races.
Trust me, Connor, it's a horrible road to get down if you're for Ayrshire. Never mind Glasgow. You know what I mean? It's I've had some good times down there. Some interesting times as well. I
imagine.
I've told the story. I think a fan tried to stick your head in me one day when we're playing down there, and then you're talking about Big Dunsey, the goalie, Ryan Dunsmuir, the
That's
goalie,
the one,
cracking big goalie, punched me square in the face one day. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say I think he was going for the ball, but I took a sore one off the big man. But he's a cracking goalie.
He's a nice guy as well. But the fans are on you down there. I was on the receiving end of a few shouts and that as well, and it's all good humour, like. But it's a hard place to go and pick up points.
I know. We love it. Right, okay. Easterhouse beat Ardea 1-0. A good result for Easterhouse. That's two wins in the bows for Easterhouse. 2 good wins as well. So beating Kello, it's actually 4 wins in the bows for them. Lugar, Glasgow Persia, Kello last week, and Ardea this week. So Andy's got the boys picked up a wee bit, but I don't know. Did you see Sean Kenny's interview after the game?
I did. Aye, and
not a happy man.
No, definitely not. And I watch a lot of his interviews. They've got a really good social media down at Ardea. And as I said, I've not seen much of them actually in person, but obviously I follow their Twitter and Facebook. And I watched that last night, and he's fuming by the sounds of it. Obviously they've come off the back of a really, really poor result up at Stirling Uni. Which, listen, can happen. You move up and play teams in the Lowland and the Prem when you're down in the 3rd and 4th division. That can happen. I don't think. By the sounds of it, that's no what his issue is. It was the lead up to playing there. I think they bet Yoker, and then obviously yesterday he's questioned boys' attitude and commitment and stuff like that. So he knows his players. And listen, I've done similar interviews. Sometimes you do the interviews and you look back and go, I could have maybe not said that, or I should have said this. Or ultimately, he's looking for a reaction off his players. He's not been happy with the performances of late and the results, and so yeah, I dare say what he's said out there on social media. He said that in the changing room, so it will only be a shock to the players. And to be honest, I like his honesty. I like that he's passionate. He comes across as if he really wants to do well. I'm sure I've seen it was like his 210th game yesterday as well as manager. So he clearly loves the club. He wants the best for the club. And he'll not have any passengers, and I don't mind that. I genuinely don't. I think sometimes players do become comfortable, as he touched on yesterday. That's sometimes something I've questioned my players about. Even this season, I think some players can be comfortable in their commitment, attitude that can change. And I'm not saying they turn into a bad egg, but you can see it happening. And listen, they're sitting 3 points behind top, so he's maybe gone right, clean slate as of the day. But I'm getting some home truths out there. And he, as I said, he knows his players. So I personally quite like the fact that he's come out, he's been honest, and he's no hid, and he's gave an honest opinion of the game. So as I say, I don't know much about them, but out with the last couple of weeks, they've had a good start to the season. They're up there challenging for the league, so he'll just be hoping to get them back into training this week. And if I was him, I would be kind of saying, right, we've said what we need to say, then let's get back to winning games. So
Aye.
I didn't mind that interview, to be honest with you, Jonny. I actually hats off to him, in my opinion.
No, I agree 100%. Everybody knows Sean was on the show 2 weeks ago. I've got a great relationship with the big man. I really like him. And what he's done at Ardea is incredible. And I think for me, like you said, it's interesting that he was saying that he could sense it a couple of weeks ago, and then they went and get the victory against Yoka. And sometimes winning masks everything.
It
You know,
does,
like it can be. Although it's great to win games when you've got that feeling, sometimes it can mask things and they can come to the fore. But as you said, I've got absolutely no doubt that he'll have said the exact same things to those boys in the changing room as he said out in public. So everybody knows where they stand. As you said, he's being honest, and I think Sean even said on the show last week, he said there are some boys want honesty, but do they really? So it'll be interesting. One of the things that it kind of prick my ears up a wee bit, Connor. I don't know if you've came across this, because I know when we spoke at the start of the season, you were talking about you had a lot of boys missing through injuries, holidays, etc. And then you've got boys in the team that maybe know that they're not going to be out the team because there's nobody there to take their place if there's injuries and people away and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's maybe having a wee effect as well, because boys know it doesn't really matter how I play because there's nobody sitting there that's going to come in and take my place.
And that's complacency, innit? And it happens anywhere. It happens in your day-to-day job if you can become complacent. He spoke about one or two boys coming back for injury. I don't know what his budget's like. I dare say he's working with no very much down there. But he'll maybe go and try and bring in a one or two players to freshen it up as well and get a wee bounce off his current players that way. And he seems to know what the problem is. So I dare say he'll be working on a plan to come up and set it right. And at the same time, the players have also got him up there challenging for a title so far, and they have come up well in the cup. They beat Carluke a few weeks ago, 5-6 weeks ago. I heard they were very good on the day against Carluke. So I don't think I think he's emotional and he's passionate. But I don't think he'll go and release 10 of the players tomorrow. So he'll
It wouldn't have any left if he did that.
I know. But
But
no,
Andrew,
it definitely complacency it definitely can come into play.
aye.
But by the sounds that he's not going to let that happen moving forward. So he'll be looking for reaction off his players, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got it this week.
Well, they go and play your mate this week.
Who's that? Who did they play?
Ardea, they play
Oh,
Lisbon
sorry,
Hazel.
aye, that's right. They're up at the Gow. It's been put off a couple of weeks. I don't know what happened there, Jonny, with the Scottish been off yesterday because the Gow were supposed to play Largs yesterday. So I don't know if that'll become this Saturday or if it'll be up here. But that'll be a good game. We obviously we played the Gow a few weeks ago as well, and a proper wee derby and a good battle on the day. Unfortunately, we came up short, so he's the bragging rights for the last couple of months. But that'll be a good game. It's a tough game for Ardea to get up. The Gows they're a good side, really good side, and again they've got a lot of quality in the final third. They signed the boy Dylan Collins for Cali Locos, who's we spoke about earlier. He'll go and score 20 goals this season. So he's probably wishing it was a league game rather than a cup game. But again, he maybe go and give 2 or 3 boys a chance with it being the cup to come in and stake a claim to grab the jersey. So I hopefully they get that game on this weekend.
Aye, and just touching just one last thing on Ardea just before we move on, because just Craig McGee's just mentioning in the chat, just saying, I wonder how much the heavy defeat last week to Stirling, how much of an effect will that? I mean, they weren't. I wouldn't have said they would have been expected to win that game, but to take such a sore one, do you think that?
Aye,
Could be having
I think there's been a wee hangover effect for that. No matter how much you try to put a positive spin on it at training, and as I said earlier as well, but listen, that can happen when you're moving up 4 or 5 divisions to play teams. It's not unusual for teams in the lower divisions of the West when they come up against teams in the lowlands for that to happen. As you say, I don't think he'd have been going through there expecting them to go and win, but he definitely wouldn't have expected that. But I think that's just one of the games you just need to right, it's happened. It will only happen again probably in his career as a manager, and just pick yourself up for it. But for the players, probably the players they've probably gave away 4 or 5 really cheap goals, and maybe a wee bit on edge, and I definitely think there would have been a hangover effect from that, unfortunately for our dear eye.
Yep, and aye, and it'll be interesting to see how they get on next week at Les Migo, if they get a wee reaction. I'm sure they will, because we know how good a manager Sean is. And next week, absolute cracker next week in the league, just if anybody's looking for something to do, Dalry against Craig Mark up at Mersworth, up at Dalry's Park. So fingers crossed the rain and everything stays away, and we get a good game up there. First v second, that will be a good one.
That'll bring a healthy crowd in anyway.
I hope so.
There, wouldn't it?
I hope so. Maybe be one on my list to go, depending on where I am on Saturday. Right, okay, mate. Moving into the 4th division. So we'll start with yourselves, Connor. Really, that I think people would look at Royal Albert winning 1-0 at Saltcoats and go, "Aye, right, fair enough." But Saltcoats have been on a tear at the last few weeks, and I think that's a much more impressive result than you'll probably get credit for yesterday.
Aye, I think so as well. And I said that to the boys. It was an absolute massive game for us. We're 4-5 games behind most of the league, for whatever reasons. We've played 9 and we're unbeaten in 9, but we've had a lot of draws, and similar to a lot of managers, the start of the season with a lot of injuries. Yesterday we had 9 missing yesterday, so to go down there, credit to the ground staff. They go to the park. The park was in decent condition for the weather we've had this week. That's the best Saltcoats I've seen since I've been in the setup. They were decent yesterday. They don't get me wrong, they sat in and made it difficult for us. They played a flat 5 at the back, and the 2 boys up front who were willing runners, and they were very, very fast, and they just tried to play in channels and turners. And first half was really, really scrappy, and we kind of went away for identity a wee bit. Second half we've come out really, really soft penalty against us. I'm talking 10 seconds into the second half. Josh, my new signing, who's come in because my goalie's injured, he's come in on loan for Cumbernauld, pulled off a good save, and we've went up the park about 3 minutes later and scored. We've had a couple of chances later on in the game to maybe score a second. We've hit the bar and a couple of wee half chances. Saltcoats get reduced to 10 men, but a really, really big win for us. It was we take it down there and win yesterday for what we want to do this year, and where we want to go and where we want to finish. We need to make up ground on the league when we get these games, when the rest of the league aren't playing. So, as you said, they were coming off the back of beating Carluke, beating Irvine Vix in the derby, and a draw against Eglinton. 3 teams sitting in the top 5. So, massive result for us yesterday, and I was quite impressed with Saltcoats. I think they've massively improved, and I'd fancy them to maybe move up a few places in the league as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And I think it was a good result for you guys, as I said. Really impressive. It's not an easy place to go at the best of times. But I heard you say in your interview after the game the park was in decent nick, so that's good.
It was, it was. It was in decent nick. It's a big long park down there. I was really impressed. We were doing the end of last year, and the difference in the ground for the end of last year to this year, they've done a new stand where they've done work on the stand. They've took the old stand down and they've put up a new stand. They've done a lot of work. The place was spotless yesterday. There's new changing rooms, well, an extension on the porta cabins. The hospitality was really good. It seems to me as if they're doing all the right things behind the scenes. And they've had a few good results the last few weeks, so we knew it was going to be tough yesterday. And as you said, people look at that and go, that's just the 1-0 at Saltcoats, but Saltcoats are definitely a club on the up, in my opinion. So we were over the moon yesterday, driving up the road with that 3 points.
Yeah, and unbeaten in the league. I think people maybe look at the league table, see you sitting down in 10th. I know you've only played 9 games compared to some of the other ones playing 13, 14 games, but still unbeaten in the league. That's impressive.
Aye. It's just we've had. I hate being that guy talking about injuries and that, because we've still had 15, 16, 17 every week. So ultimately, there's been a few games I sent you some of the clips in that, and you've seen them. You've seen them 4 or 5 minute long clips where we've drew 0-0 or we've drew 1 each, and we've battered teams, and we've just ultimately everything we've spoken about tonight. We've not had somebody there to go and to take the chances. Saturday was the opposite, where we probably never had a lot of chances and we took it. So, and we definitely didn't batter Saltcoats or anything like that. So It's been a frustrating start to the season. 9 games unbeaten at any stage of the season is good going. And I said that to the boys in the changing room yesterday. If we win our games in hand, I think we go 2 points behind top of the league. It's a tough league as well. A lot of good sides in it this year. East Kilbride are flying up the top. You've got Carluke, good side as well. So we need to start winning games. We've obviously got 4 wins and 5 draws, but we're not losing games. So if that's the most important thing. So hopefully between the now and the Christmas time, we can rack up a couple of wins, and I think the league table will look a lot different when we play our games if we win them. But if we get them played before Christmas, and the league table should look a wee bit different with a couple more wins. But no, we're starting to get boys back here, and Brannan's been back training. He's a big player for us. He's played obviously a lot higher up in the 4th division, so he's back in training. We've signed a couple strikers on loan. We get Jamie in for Baillie, so he's made a difference. We signed Liam Coogans for Knightswood, so they've made a massive difference over the last couple of weeks as well. So we're in a much healthier position now.
Aye, so talk to me a bit about what's happening off the park corner, because Royal Albert, it's a club again. I said I know very little about it. I probably didn't even know they existed until we were when I was coaching at Lugar, and we were in the 4th division with them, or the 3rd division one. I think it was the 4th division. Before your time, it was before your time. I think it was just before you came in, actually. But talk to me about what's happening around the club, because I saw there was some news during the week.
So obviously I've come in over the last couple of years, we kind of came in and Scott Rowe and John Riley took over the club for Peter Higgins. Peter had ran the club himself with some really, really good helpers, but Peter kind of was the face of the club for 30 odd years, and he gave the kind of passed the club on to the youth committee. And over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of positive stuff happening. The council, South Lanarkshire Council, we're looking at kind of probably knocking the facilities down. There's a 2 11-a-side pitches, a 9-a-side pitch, and 2 5-a-side Astros there. And the club, down to a lot of hard work, formed a tile works committee. And after a few months, I think they only get about 3 months to get everything done. They managed to get a 20-year lease to take over the full facilities. But so we've obviously had that, and which has been massive. There's 8 or 9 youth teams in the system as well, so they've still got somewhere to play out of Stonehouse. And then more recently, we kind of held a wee mini meeting. It was back down to maybe 1 or 2 guys just running the full junior side of it set up. But over the last couple of weeks, we've managed to form a new committee with 5 or 6 guys coming in, and a couple guys have come in with fresh fundraising ideas and stuff like that. And you need that. It was kind of me and Scott and kind of doing a lot of the work behind the scenes, and it was tough. And we've managed to get another couple of guys in, Ryan in, and 2 or 3 guys in who are massive helps, and they've got experience in running clubs and being involved in committees. And so there'll be a committee meeting, just stuff which should once every month, stuff which should be happening but it's not been happening. And it'll just safeguards the future of the club. These guys coming in who have all got something to do with Royal Albert at heart, whether it's their kids playing the youth teams or they've played with Royal Albert. So it's just really, really positive. And anything at all that can kind of make my life and my job easier, and kind of let me hopefully just look after football side of things, and not kind of try and split myself in 3 places. So I know really, really positive, Jonny. We've had a good start to the season, and they've got the pitch in great condition. I don't know what the pitch was like when you came up with Lugar, but over the last 18 months, this Tile Works Committee have put in a lot of money to the pitch, and we're reaping the benefits of that. Just before we got it off the council, they spent about £30,000 on new drainage for the park as well. So it's a lot of positive stuff happening, mate. And hopefully this season we can hopefully get out the division. They've not been out the bottom division for a lot of years now, and they've had a lot of tough years and turbulent years. So hopefully this year we can give the wee small loyal fans something to celebrate and get promoted, and hopefully keep on moving up for there.
Aye, and it's great. I think it's great. I hope the people that are watching, fans of all clubs, fans of big clubs, small clubs, provincial clubs, anything like that, are watching and enjoying listening to what's going on, because it's great for us to hear about what's happening at clubs down the level, and the fact that people are getting behind it. And it seems like it's definitely on the up. It's definitely a club that's on the up. So
Right.
it's great, and it sounds like from what the wee snippets I'm hearing, that it's been done in a proper, sustainable way that's going to be there for the long term. You know, it's not just somebody coming in, flinging wads of cash at it and hoping for the best, and then if he goes away, then you're in bother. So it sounds like things are moving the right direction, the right way. So long may it continue, mate, and thanks very much for keeping us up to date with everything, and
no worries, mate.
Goes well for the rest of the season. Just touching on the other game in the division yesterday, St. Peter's beating New Mains 3-1. Kenny got in touch. She was just saying it was a tight game. They just shaded it overall. It was one of those ones that if it was a draw, probably wouldn't have complained. They scored 2 excellent goals. And it keeps up the great run in the league. They're 8 unbeaten now in the league and build up to a massive game against EKYM. Finding a bit of form, St. Peter's going in the right direction.
Aye, really like Kenny. I like what he's done with that team. He's got 3 or 4 really good players who always stick out whenever we've played them. As I say, we played them earlier on in the season, and that was one of the games where we just couldn't finish. Just with a lot of chances, and we never took them. And I said to Kenny, I said, "Yous will be nowhere near the bottom come the end of the season." And then I think it's off the back of that draw they've been unbeaten for the 8 games. I think I heard they were unlucky last week in the cup against East Kilbride as well, and he's speaking to him. He's hoping to sneak in and get 7th, 8th place. But that's what this game this weekend against EKYM. It's a 6-pointer because they're kind of round about the same. But no, that really good result yesterday. Again, New Main's another one, like a close club to us, and they're another one on and off the park. They're really making great progress off the park as well. They've got a really good committee, and Davy's building a good team there as well. We played them earlier on this season. We won 2-1. We scored late on, but they've signed well this season, and they went down to Giffnock and bet Giffnock last week, who were flying. I think Giffnock were 8 or 9 unbeaten before last week as well. So Kenny will be over the moon with that one. I'll probably tie in with him during the week for a wee catch up. Usually each other a wee text and that. Don't send voice notes or I'd be deaf. But no, I like St. Peter's. I like to see Kenny doing well. But that'll be a good game this weekend.
Yep, definitely. Okay, we'll run through a few of the cup ones pretty quickly, Connor. Just with time, we'll get the Scottish Cup now. We'll need to touch on Whitelaw winning the Strathclyde Cup, which is good. So congratulations to them. I know you guys are part of that. Has there been any discussions? Are you going to stay in that? Are you going to take up the community's FA membership next year?
We'll be back in the Scottish next year.
Exclusive WOSFL Weekly exclusive. There you go.
We 100%. We actually went in that hoping to we never realised Campbelltown were in it. So we are serving Campbelltown. It's £1,000 in the league straight away just for your bus and your day out to there. So we're like, we'll get in that and it'll be more local teams, and we'll not take the risk of getting an away tie first round or two up to Dundee. And first game Campbelltown won it. So we played Whitelaw. Congratulations to them on winning it. We played them and it was a tale of 2 halves that day. They beat us 2-1. They scored with the last kick of the ball, 95th minute, to beat us that day. But obviously they've just had the new manager, Brian Reedkin, as well, who's another good name to take him down and manage in the west of Scotland. Obviously been manager at Ayr and Albion Rovers and whatnot. So they'll be hoping to use that cup success to hopefully move up the league, because they've done a poor start to the season this year in the first division. So they'll be hoping to use that as a kind of reset to get the season up and running.
It's a good platform. Winning any cup will put a real positive feel around the club, and now they'll go into play the winners of the Alex Jack Cup in the East, which will be Crossgates, Primrose or Lochgelly Albert, and the winners of the Albert Cup in the South, which is Lochart and Lochmaben. So they'll go into a round robin with that, with a chance to get into the senior Scottish. So congratulations to them. Port Glasgow beat 4th. I see you are down to play 4th in the Strathclyde Cup. Is there any kind of chat about maybe just patching that one, or do you think you're going to have to play it?
Funny enough, I actually spoke to Jerry, the 4th manager, the night on the phone, and we were actually saying that. I wonder what will happen there if we still need to play each other, or if they'll maybe just say patch it and give a league game or something like that. I think it's the week before Christmas, but I don't know the ins and outs. That's maybe something I'll need to chin Kenny Young about and see if he knows anything.
Kenny normally watches. You can make a plea to him now if you want.
Kenny will be seeing this and probably turn it off. I'm not his favourite person. I'm constantly on the phone moaning about fixtures or moaning about some to him. So, but he wasn't too impressed that we left the senior Scottish. Sorry, no, the senior Scottish, that we left the Scottish this year. So I did tell Kenny, if you sort me out some home fixtures, we'll come back to the Scottish. So,
Aye.
but
No,
no, I
Kenny's
don't
a
know,
good
Johnny.
lad. Hopefully,
I don't know
hopefully.
if we've to play, mate. That is something I'll need to find out,
Aye.
mate.
It just seems a bit pointless, doesn't it? As
It does,
if you can squeeze another league game. I don't know what the fixtures are like in terms of the other games in the league, but
I
if
would
you could,
rather a
if
league
you,
game now, to be honest
aye,
with you. It would
especially
make
because
more
it's done,
sense.
so
Especially with us being a few games behind. So if you're watching, Kenny, I'll give you a wee phone tomorrow and find out.
yeah, that's him. That you guarantee these phones going on. Do not disturb for 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Aye,
Um,
100%.
I know, right? We'll get through the West of Scotland Cup games quickly. Petershill beat BSC 4-0. Probably no surprise there. Barry McColgan, the BSC manager, was just saying they played well, but Petershill showed their experience. They might have had a pen, but not given. Petershill punished them shortly after. Stand-in keeper did make a penalty save, but soon after Petershill made it 3, then 4. 6 players under 20, including 2 17-year-olds. Barry's done a great job at BSC, and I think it was probably just one of those ones you're playing against a better, stronger side. Right, we'll move on into the second round. Shots beat Irvine Vicks 5-0. Again, probably not a result that you would have been surprised by. And Thorn beat Maybole 4-3, and what I heard was an eventful tie, as you can imagine, 4-3, but there was red cards and all sorts of stuff. But well done to Thorn at Shots and Petershill getting through to the next round of the West of Scotland League Cup. Right, we'll jump into the Scottish Communities Cup. Still getting used to calling it the Communities Cup instead of the Junior Cup, but hey ho. We'll run through a couple of results that I've got updates on, Connor, just quickly. I did speak to Josh about the result, the Pollock v Arbroath game. I thought it looked a pretty standard 3-0 win for Pollock, and he just said that, to be fair. He said it's fairly routine, extremely difficult surface. Could have been a banana skin, but boys managed the game for the most part. Ran out comfortable winners in the end. It's just pretty much what we expected Pollock to do. And Vela Clyde, in fact, we've got a comment there for Craig just saying about Pollock starting to find a bit more consistency. But it's just one of those things. It's a difficult tie going through to the East. You don't know what you're going to get, and they went through and get the job done. Auchinleck beat Vela Clyde 2-0. I was interested to see how this one went, Connor, with Auchinleck losing to Muircut last week and Vela Clyde on a high after beating Hurlford. Craig's just saying that they deserved the 2-0 win. They had a couple of disallowed goals. Vela Clyde a strong side. I did speak to John Hughes, the Vela Clyde manager, who said they were great, competed really well all over the park. Auchinleck's a step above anything they've played against. However, they were organised, defended well, majority of the game, despite losing a poor goal in 20 minutes, regrouped and created some chances. In the first 20 minutes of the second half, they went toe-to-toe and created 3 or 4 chances, put them under a wee bit of pressure. They scored with 15 minutes to go, but Vela Clyde kept going to the end. Proud of the lads. So sounds as if John's coming away with the positives from the game, but it's a good response from Auchinleck, because that could have been a banana skin given how strong Vela Clyde are.
Aye, for sure, especially coming off the back of a poor result last week for the Talbot. But as you say, I think John's just picked all the positives there, and we spoke about it right at the start of the show that John's probably not saying happy about the cup, but he's been down there. He said it's the best side they've come up against, probably will come up against this season. They've put on a good show, a good performance. So it's not a case of getting up there and they've lost 5 or 6. He'll be hoping now to get back and they can concentrate on the league, sitting mid-table. So again, they'll be hoping to finish in the top 8. So he'll be quite happy that he can find positives off the cup game and now concentrate on the league.
Yep, definitely. Benber beat Tayport 2-1. Benber but are on a real good run of form and making some good signings as well there. I think they're going to really put themselves up that first division, challenging back to get in the Premier League.
Aye, same. They obviously had a really poor start to the season, and then they look as if something's maybe clicked somewhere and a couple of new players. I have seen that their social media has been really busy over the last couple of weeks, selling and buying, and they're obviously getting a bounce from it. And I think that's maybe 4 or 5 unbeaten now, and they seem to be doing well in all the cups as well. They won in penalties the last round, I'm sure. Or was that the senior Scottish? Or they done well in one of the cups. They beat a team in penalties. So they're they'll be, again, as you say, they'll be looking to keep on moving up the league now as well, and use that cup for them and move it into the league.
Yep, definitely. Thornywood beat Blantyre 6-1. I thought this was going to be closer than it was, to be honest. I know Blantyre are really strong at home, but I did speak to Adam Coakley, the Thornywood manager, who's just opened a new bar on Soggy Hog Street called Radio, by the way. So there, I got a free plug for him. if you want to go and make him even more rich than he already is, then you can go into radio on Soggy Hog Street. He said they were outstanding yesterday. He was really, really pleased. He said it was the first time in a long time that they've had everybody back and felt really strong and really cohesive going into the game, and everything just clicked for them. So sounds really positive for Thornywood, because they have had a couple of ups and downs recently, but that will give them confidence moving forward.
I was expecting Thornywood to be kind of fighting it out for top 3 this year with the quality they've got throughout the team. I'm not saying it's too late to do that, but I was similar to you. I kind of half thought that was a bit of a derby yesterday. Thought that maybe been a wee bit closer. Blantyre seem to have kind of fell away the last 2 or 3 weeks after a really good start to the season. And then again, they won in the cup last week against Belsill as well. But they'll be disappointed to come away with that, with a sore one yesterday. And I think Adam will be looking to go on a run in the cups, because he's definitely got the quality to do it throughout his team.
Yep, Dundee Violet beat Giffen at 4-0. Dundee North End beat Kilburney 3-0. Rob Roy beat Bells Hill 6-2. Again, I probably expected this to be a bit closer, but I saw Craig Truesdale get a hat trick. He's going to be such a top signing for Rob Roy for the rest of the season.
He could still be playing in the lowland or higher. He's a really, really good player. And I seen Bellsill's team yesterday. I think Jonny rotated a wee bit anyway. I think, again, bread and butter's the league for Jonny and Bellsill this season, with them sitting top. And I think that's them out both cups now after losing last week as well. So he'll be kind of, in a way, just looking for the positives, that they're still sitting top of the league, and brush themselves down and get ready to hopefully go and win that league. They're on our side with a lot of quality, and I'd expect them to probably be up there winning that league this year. And as for Kirky Rob Roy, when you've got players like that, I don't see why they can't go and keep on moving up their league as well. I know Gibby quite well, and he's building a good team there. It's took them maybe a wee bit longer than they would have ideally wanted, but they've got a cracking setup up there. Their ground's really good, and Gibby's got a lot of experience, so I'd fancy them to keep on moving up and probably keep going deeper into the cup as well.
I did text Jonny just to see about the result. He just said Rob Roy's quality in the final third was the difference. It was 3-2. It would tend to go. They conceded the fourth, and then Belsill just kind of went gung-ho, as you do sometimes in cup games, and lose late goals. So you're looking at that, and it looks as if maybe the scoreline's maybe been a wee bit harsh.
Aye. I seen that. I'm sure I seen he'd put on Bellsill's social media that he'd said that. I think Darryl was doing watching it yesterday as well. And when I phoned him coming up the road for Saltcoats, he said that. He said at 3-2 he threw on 3 strikers. Or a winger and 2 strikers, and just went for it, and they went up the park and got a couple late goals. He said it wasn't a 6-2 game. He said it definitely wasn't like a demolishing. That Johnny's just went for it late on, mate, being in the cup, and it goes for you at Disney, doesn't it? And it never went for Jonny yesterday.
I mean, it doesn't matter whether it finishes 6-2 or 3-2. You're still out the cup. You know what I mean? At that time, sometimes you've just got to go for it. And I see Oliver Jones in the chat just talking about the games next week. So Threave play Bells Hill, but I think he's saying 3v Bells Hill. I think that's 2 weeks, Oliver. I think according to the West of Scotland website, which I'll trust 100%. Threave are away to Kilsyth next week. I don't see a fixture for Bells Hill next week. I don't think they've got a game, and then they play Threave on the 6th of December. So that'll be an absolute cracker. That would be great. If it wasn't down in
6 hours away,
in the middle of nowhere, then I would definitely try and get down to that. And we had one game on Friday, Rutherglen beating Yoker 4-2, and we've got the draw for the next round. So I'll just fling it up on the screen just now, and you can have a wee look. Any ties stick out to you there, Conan, if you can see it?
2 seconds and I'll tune in.
I think Auchinleck play Rutherglen at home, so I think that'll be a good one. I think again, there's nothing. Do you know something, Conor? I'm going to say this right. I've been really disappointed with the cup draws this year, and there's nothing that anybody can do about it. Right? I fully get that. It is what it is. But seeing these rounds, the last few rounds of these cups, there's no actually been that many ties that jump out at you as really good ties.
No, I know. Just looking at it there, and I just seen if Darryl was to cause a wee cup upset for his rewards, he's away up to Fraserburgh. So that's that obviously sticks out just with my connection with the.
I know, but we've got about 8 fixtures before that gets to that stage, isn't it? Because Dundonald will start to play Lugar and Lochie United gets involved in it. Fraserborough's in there as well. So there's loads of ties, there's loads of games still to play, but the draw is there. I suppose
Kirky Rock Afton looks like a good tie.
If that comes through, and then there's actually only one. Craig's just saying there's only one confirmed tie in the whole draw just now, because I think Benburb v potentially Troon or Carnoustie could be a good one, and I'd be interested to see if Knightswood can get past Dice and the round and they go to Pollock.
That could be a wee bit of derby, I suppose, isn't it?
Aye, that could be a good one as well. That would be a really interesting one to see what happens in that. But just to let you know that's what's happening. Okay, mate, listen, we've got a couple of questions in the chat. So Alexander Walker has asked an interesting question about Campbelltown, just saying about how can they sustain the club going forward. Now, I think we all know the challenges they have in terms of location and stuff, but I think they're committed as far as I'm aware, and I have spoken to the chairman a couple of times, and I would love him if he wants to come on and have a chat, but you can only imagine how difficult it must be for them, and especially if they're not having the best of seasons, you know.
Campbelltown, and it's not that we don't get on it. There's bad blood there, but anytime you're supposed anytime we're supposed to play them, that a storm comes or something, like we would sometime, like both ways, with parts been off, or we're on the bus ready to go up a few weeks ago, and the part get called off, but Norman, the guy Norman who runs the club, he's manager and chairman and secretary and treasurer. He does a great job. I get on really well with Norman, and I know that their main sponsors a bus company for up there, and I think they help out with the away fixtures and stuff like that. But we played them a couple of weeks ago in the cup, and he was telling me that they've got a new manager for the away games, and he's pulling in boys from Glasgow area to play the away games. How long that works for, I don't know. But we played them, and the 2 or 3 new boys, and they were decent, to be fair. I'm sure he was the Renfrew 20s manager last year or the year before. So he's got a pool of players, this guy. I don't know him personally, but listen, hats after them, because, again, similar to what I said to Kello, it's not a nice bus journey up there. And they're doing that every second week to come down. So, listen, credit to the boys. They've obviously had a really, really difficult start to the season. They've not picked up any points yet, but they're not a gang, or when they're losing, they play the game the right way. They're a lot to like, and when you go up there, they get good crowds, and they take you down to the hospitality, and so I wish them all the best, but. I personally, for me, I don't know how they do it. It's a lot. I know how much it takes out me and the players getting up there, and that's fine once a season. But the boys are doing that, and listen, they're doing that to play. So fair play to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And I would really like if somebody gets in touch to get them on, just to talk about all that kind of thing, you know, because it's fascinating me. It's fascinating to me the kind of logistics of what's involved, to be honest. Craig is just asking there about thoughts on the South Challenge Cup draw. I have got that. I can put that on the screen as well. I think for me, obviously, Muir Cup beating Auchinleck, their reward is a home tie to Rutherglen. I think the Lowland League versus West of Scotland League games are the ones that stick out for me. You're looking at Vela Clyde v Cali Braves. I think that'll be really interesting tie. And I think Renfrew going to University of Stirling after what they did to Ardee, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Renfrew go there.
Aye, for sure. And by the way, Baillie Clyde will maybe fancy their chances. I know Cali Braves played the Gow in the last round, and they scored. I think it was the last. It was in fact it was the last kick of the ball against Les Mexico. And with Baillie Clyde being a division up again, coming off the back, he playing well against Talbot. They'll maybe fancy a wee cup upset there. But I know there's a lot of good ties there. Same with Renfrew. You're hoping for one of the games for the West of Scotland teams to cause a wee upset, hopefully.
Yep, and Craig's just saying Trinent versus potentially Bonnyrigg could be a cracker as well, which it obviously will be, but not today with the West, Craig. So we're not interested. But I know it's some good ties in that one, to be fair. And see, I think I don't know how you feel, right, but see, obviously Muircup beating Auchinleck and then getting a home tie to Rutherglen, like it's just like one of those things. You beat Auchinleck and then you get another home tie against a Premier League team, and I hope they beat Rutherglen. It's nothing against Rutherglen. I like Rutherglen as a club, but just after beating Auchinleck, you just want to see them keep going. Do you know what I mean? It'd be disappointing to beat Auchinleck and then go to Rutherglen in the next round. And again, nothing bad to Rutherglen. And by the way, you're talking to a guy that beat Celtic, then beat Rangers, and get beat off Livingston in the Scottish League Cup. So I know all about it. So I think that's all the questions. We got a question on the restructure. Craig's just saying about the restructure that teams finishing bottom three can't go up even if they've got a license. I don't know that, to be honest, Craig. I don't know. Kenny will probably be able to give us more insight on that. I'm sure. I hope there's no more changes coming. I don't know about you, Connor, but we've got the way it is now. We're all kind of set, so let's just run with it. Like we've said, I know it's different because you need to be licensed to get into the Lowland League West, but as far as I was aware, it was the top 8, 9, whatever it is, licensed clubs will all go up, regardless of where they finish in the league. Personally, I think if that's what it is, let's just leave it at that.
I'm with you, mate. I'm totally with you. I think it took us long enough to actually get clarity on what was happening, and then it took us long enough to then get our heads round about it. So I'm with you on this, mate. Just give teams this year to go, right, that's what we're doing, and leave it at that. I'm with you on that, mate. 100%.
Aye, definitely. It's easy for you. You just win your games and finish in that top 8, and then you'll be.
That's the plan, mate. That's hopefully the plan.
You'll be up the top of the table. Do you know what I mean? And get promoted into the league. So Craig's just asking there, how many teams have licenses just now? So as far as I'm aware, I think it's Auchinleck, Cumnock, Kilwinning, Glenafton, Pollock, Rutherglen, and St Cadox. I think that have got licenses just now. But I have heard that all the Premier League teams, apart from Arthurlie, who are hoping to have a new stadium, are in the process or applying for the license. So fingers crossed that it could be everybody apart from Arthurlie will have achieved a license by the time the promotion relegation stuff from the Lowland League comes round next year. That would be good. Usually any talks at Royal Albert about that, about licenses and stuff? Is it been chatted about? No.
Baby steps, Jonny. We've just formed a committee for the first time. No, baby steps, but it's listen, it's obviously Carluke. You've got all their stuff in place for it, and obviously they play in the senior Scottish off the back of it and stuff like that as well. So obviously, listen, it's a long-term aim. It has been spoke about, but it could be a few years down the line for us yet. But I do know that there's a lot of clubs actively doing it at the moment in the 3rd and 4th and 2nd division. They're actively trying to get everything in place to do it, which again is credit to the clubs and committee for putting the hard work in it. I do know that there's a lot of the clubs are pushing for that now, so that can only benefit the standard of the full setup.
Yeah, because as you said, there's teams down the league, and we saw that this year with Carluke, great results in the senior Scottish and stuff. So it's more teams that we can get into it, and I know Whitelaw are talking about putting a stand in and stuff to try and push them towards potentially getting a license, because I think they've got everything else in place and that kind of thing. So more teams. It's good teams showing ambition to going and doing it. It's fantastic, and I know it's a lot of work and it's a lot of money, but if teams can do it, especially these especially the teams that have got that kind of setup, if you like what let's do with the AstroTurf and the lights and stuff like that. So, I know it's great. Jacob's just saying that Vela Clyde beat Cali Braves last year, so maybe they'll be on
there you go, then,
two in a row. But so I know. Listen, mate, I think that's we've pretty much covered everything. Just checking through the comments. Just Stilly FC is just saying that you're making Saturdays enjoyable again for Royal Albert. So there you go.
Good. That's good to hear. Big Stilly does helps put the goals out and doing the flag and that. And again, it's him and his dad. I don't think they've missed a game in about 20 years for the Albert. So it's guys like that who ultimately that's their team. It's no Rangers and Celtic. It's the Albert. And it's been good to see Stilly and his dad and Peter and a few of the other guys enjoying coming down to the Tile Works again. And hopefully this season, as I say, hopefully we can make it a year to remember, where it's top 8, top 3, or hopefully a title challenge. That is the aim. But there's a lot of good teams there. Stephen's doing well at East Kilbride, and Kirlook are obviously up there, and you've still got Irvine Vicks and that as well. So it'll be difficult. We need to win our games in hand, see where it takes us. But hopefully we can do that for guys like Stilly and that who don't miss a game for us.
Aye, do you know something? That's one of the best things about clubs at our level is when you do well, when you get these people that we had at Luger the year we get promoted and out the 4th division and stuff like that. There's and even at Maybole now, there's people there that have been watching them for they were like kids, you know, and you see the enjoyment that a wee bit of success brings that they've maybe never had. It's amazing.
100%, and as I touched on earlier on in the show, Jonny, the Albert's done a lot of turbulent, and I say turbulent, I mean that in the nicest way, but they've done a lot of difficult years over the last 8-9 years. Jamie Nisbet won the league there, I think it was 9-10 years ago now, and before that they never had a lot of success, and since then they've had a lot of difficult seasons. Peter worked wonders to keep the club afloat himself, he really did. And we've seen a massive. I've been told off Peter and other guys who have been following the club that our crowds are twice the size of what they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. But again, that comes with a wee bit of success. We've not won anything, but we're getting results on a Saturday. So the community are coming out and helping, and even off the back of getting the full, at least for the Tile Works, that's brought in more fans and stuff as well, because I think people can see the work we're putting in away for that just on the park on a Saturday. People can see how much, no myself, but the guys who are really, it's a full-time job. They're doing their cutting 2 parts. They're doing they're cleaning the facilities on a Sunday morning, and they're doing that for the benefit of the community and for to get games played in Stonehouse. So there's a lot of positive stuff happening. Hopefully this year we can put a smile on their faces and get a promotion, mate.
Yep, fingers crossed. And just finally, before we leave, Craig's just saying good luck to the West teams left in the senior Scottish this Saturday. Benburn play Montrose and Auchinleck travel to Dumbarton. Do you fancy the 2 West of Scotland teams to get anything from those games?
You never say never with the Talbot, didn't you know? They've done it over the years, big cup upsets. So fingers crossed for them, man. They definitely are. And by the way, you're hoping that the 2 clubs look down their noses at the West of Scotland teams, and you're hoping for a big cup upset. That would be amazing. Wish the 2 of them all the best for Saturday.
Aye, definitely. I think one thing I will say is Dumbarton manager Stevie Farrell, who obviously had a long career in the juniors, the old juniors with co-winning, etc. So he'll not be taking them lightly at all. He's well versed in this level of football and knows what it's all about. But I fancy Benburb to maybe get something off Montrose, especially at home. You know, I know Montrose playing Astro anyway, but I still fancy them. And then Auchinleck, if they can go up there, and that'll be a tough game. Dumbarton's a decent side. I'm maybe going to be at that, covering it for Now Ayrshire Radio if things go well. So I'll maybe be there. So I'm looking forward to that if it is the case. But Connor, listen, hour and 20 minutes. There's me thinking we've only got 25 games to talk about. I do this every week, you know. And to be fair, I could probably talk to you for the rest of the night, to be fair. So I've really enjoyed the conversation. The interaction tonight has been incredible as well. So thanks to everybody that's left comments and questions. It's much appreciated, because it's been really good tonight. It's been really fast. I've been working hard trying to keep up while Connor's been talking. So thanks to everybody that's been watching. But Connor, thanks for giving up your Sunday night to come and talk about the West of Scotland.
Thanks for getting me on, mate, and getting a chance to get some good news out there about the Albert and stuff like that as well, mate. I watch the show and really enjoy it every Sunday. So just thanks very much, mate, and hope you keep doing well with the show.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. And just a reminder, if you are watching the video, if you're watching it right now or you're rewatching it, hit the like button, subscribe to the Pyramid Promotions channel. If you're listening on audio form, then download the episode, rate and review on your podcast network. Shout out to our sponsors, Roxburgh Insurance Brokers, GLA Chauffeurs, and VSN Sport. Okay. I'm delighted because we were under 4 goals, average 4 goals a game last week, Con. I wasn't happy about it. So 104 goals over 25 games. We're back up over the 4 goals mark. So as we say every week, if you're looking for value for money and entertaining football, dig out a tenner, go and support your local West of Scotland Football League team, because I am sure they will appreciate it. Until next Sunday at 7 o'clock, I've been Jonny Baillie. He's been Connor Whitelaw. Take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.
Cheers.